Hello guys, I'm Adriana and in today's video Leonardo is going to try to recover this device. To repair this water damage device, we are going to get to the motherboard to see the damage it has. We won't take long with the disassembly process, we'll just use the fast camera. To remove the screen, we apply 90 Celsius degrees during 3 or 4 minutes. In this way, applying heat to the adhesive, removing the screen will be easier. Like you see, we've got a lot of water. In this water damage device, we are going to have a lot of work, so just continue with the disassembly process. To avoid a possible short circuit, it's very important, before anything else, to remove the battery connector. Here I'll leave you a trick. When you can't remove a screw because of the corrosion, with the help of the power supply, we apply 15-20 volts and 3 or 4 amperes. In this way, we can modify the surface of the screw. We'll use a star-type screwdriver. Even on some occasion, we can use a Torx when we loosen the screw. When loosening the screw, you have to push hard with the screwdriver. Finally, we can remove the motherboard. Now we have to focus on the repair of the motherboard. If we can't give a solution of the motherboard, it's silly to clean other component, because the first thing we have to recover is the motherboard. Everything else can be cleaned and sanitized easily. Now, with the help of the microscope, we inspect well the motherboard. Here we have a lot of humidity, a lot of corrosion, and a nice short circuit. Now we need to focus on the union of the two parts of the motherboard. I can see a little sulfate. When it comes to a device water damaged like this, I prefer to separate the two parts of the motherboard. I have the mold of the iPhone 11, but I'm not going to waste time with it. I'll take advantage of this tutorial to show you the easiest way to separate the two parts of the motherboard. Using any screen separator, you can separate these parts. Later, I will show you how to separate and to solder these parts of the motherboard manually, so people who can't invest money in these tools can do it also. So, if you want me to record this class, please give me a strong like and leave a comment below. Thank you. When we reach 185 Celsius degrees, we can remove the upper part. We use the tip of the surgical scalpel. The motherboard has to be lifted easily. Now, with the help of the microscope, we'll analyze the solder balls and we look for humidity in the two parts of the motherboard. Until the end of this tutorial, I'll tell you how much I invoiced to my client for such a repair. So stay with me until the end. Thank you. So far, so good. Now we are going to clean this area. It's quite burned. We apply a little of contact cleaner and with the piece of cotton we remove the sulfate. We can also use a metal brush. This step is very important. When it comes to a very burnt area, we have to apply lateral pressure to all the components of the area, because in this way we'll see which component is loose on the motherboard. To remove the resin, we use a surgical scalpel and an air station at 190 Celsius degrees. At the end, I decided to remove all these components because all of them are oxided and they moved. I'm going to remove these two big capacitors as well. We clean the area and we go to the emulator to see all the burned components. We have removed most of these components. We have many capacitors and some resistors. To look for a component, we go to the schematic and we place the reference. Here we have a 0 ohms resistors, so we can solder a bridge. I've got now $1 million question. Why do we have 0 ohms resistors instead of having a wired or soldered bridge? Now I can explain it to you. Most of the motherboards are made with automatic machines prepared to pick up and to solder SMD components of a short size, such as the resistors. The machine doesn't know how to solder a cable, but yes, it knows how to solder a resistor, and it's more cheaper to make a cable in the form of the resistor than to teach the machine to solder the cables. It is easy, right? Let's continue with our job. Now we are going to recycle 2 capacitors from a motherboard of an iPhone 7. We just have to look at the characteristic of the capacitor and that's it. To not make a mistake when we place the new capacitor, we have to see these characteristics. For example, we have this 15 microfarad capacitor, 20% tolerance, and then withstands 6.3 volts. At the bottom, we have the type of the material and the size of the component. To solder it is very easy. We can use a lot of temperature for a very short time. In this way, we are not going to damage the motherboard. After soldering these 2 capacitors, we are going to measure the lines. To check the correct function of the motherboard, we cannot miss the resistors and some bobbin. For the moment, I have preferred to solder the 2 larger capacitors to help the device maintaining the voltages well. If we manage to turn on the phone, then we have to solder the other capacitors. For this device, I don't have the joining tool to review the device, so I'm going to solder the 2 parts of the motherboard. To solder it is very important to apply a very good flux. Now I'm going to ask you why I haven't reballed the upper part and I haven't cleaned the other one either. Over time, you'll find the right temperature to separate the 2 parts of the motherboard, and in this way the solder balls will be perfect. This tool also helped me a lot to join the 2 parts of the motherboard. Remember that in the world there are many technicians who do all this work manually, so I encourage you to practice on broken motherboards. This tool has to reach up to 220 Celsius degrees to solder and to separate the 2 parts of the motherboard well. On the other hand, the other KC tool is more precise and has a working temperature of 185 Celsius degrees. Let's try to turn on our device. We'll use the iPower and the test screen that we have in our laboratory. The truth is that many capacitors are missing and our device is going down. Let's try to hold the power button a little longer. Finally, we've got good news. We've got the Apple logo on the screen. On our website, the price of this kind of repair, water damage iPhone 11, is €129, free shipping. Now let's check the other screen. Let's see if it's work. I need to inspect well this screen. Encourage yourself to learn to repair mobile devices. Invest money in your training because there are many devices in the world and in this way you can get a good extra money. Guys, he is Leonardo. We hope you liked today's tutorials. It's like just an offline masterclass. And if you like it, please share it and give it a big like. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.